All right, guys. Today I am going to show you how I make burnt ends. And I have posted pictures of my burnt ends on my Facebook page, and different people have said, hey, how do you do that? How do you make those? So I'm gonna just show you the process. What I got here is 2 chuck roasts, about whatever size. The marbling in there is really good. This has some kind of harder fat deposits in there that I could go in and carve out, but I just leave them in there because once they render down, just remember those hard fat deposits don't always render well. You're just gonna have to cut them out later, but rather than ruin the whole piece of meat, I'm just gonna leave it in there while I cook it. But that's kind of the process. Just basically open up a couple of chuck roasts and throw them in a pan. And I'm gonna start just like I did the other day on my hamburgers. I've got the Killins salt and pepper. And we're gonna get a good, really liberal dosing of salt and pepper on here. And sometimes that's all people do is just salt and pepper. I'm adding this barbecue sweet rub. I found this at HEB as well. Basically, any other flavor you want to add in, it's okay. There's no wrong way. Some people will claim that's anything other than that is sacrilegious. I'm going to add that in because I like it. I've done a bourbon rub before. I find the bourbon's a little bit too overpowering for this particular application, but gonna turn those over. Same thing. Now, these roasts, I let these sit out about an hour. So you'll notice, I think I said that on my hamburgers too. An hour for beef. I have watched guys, and they say an hour for beef is okay. Pork, chicken, not so much. But an hour out for beef, it'll be okay. And what it does is it lets that piece of meat come to room temperature, so you're not sitting there trying to cook just a stone cold piece of meat. So I've got these things seasoned up. I've got the smoker started. They're gonna sit here for another 15, 20 minutes, and then we're gonna put them on. So I'll check back with you guys then. All right, here we are at the Traeger. It has been warming up. Going for 275 is our temp. And so any smoker you have that you can maintain at 275, listen, you can do this in the oven at 275. You're just not going to have that smoky flavor. But if you can maintain a 275 temperature, that's what we're going for. So we're basically going to put these on the grate, right on it, for about 5 hours. I'm going for a 165 internal temp. And I've done this enough now that at 5 hours, I just pull it off and wrap them. So we're going to put them on right now, and in about 5 hours we'll come back and do a little bit more. But just like that, we're about to smoke up some burnt ends. See you in about 5 hours. All right, guys, it's been about 5 hours since I put those on. You can see I've already checked that other one. Tip that off a little bit. And what I did was I checked it with a little thermometer right there. It was at 175, so I probably could have pulled this off in about 4 hours. But nonetheless, the important thing is we are now going to wrap this up. Now you got that nice, the time in the smoker is to get that nice crust on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. And I have switched over to butcher paper. I used to wrap with aluminum foil, but I have switched over to butcher paper. I like that it kind of soaks up some of that moisture, because to me the burnt end is that nice sticky chewy thing, right? So just a nice tight wrap. Make sure the flaps get down on the bottom. And we're gonna stick it right back in there for another probably hour and a half. I'll come out and check it again. We're going for about 195 this time for a finished temp. and then we're gonna let it rest. We're gonna do some other things, but right now we got about another hour and a half, and that's where we're at in the process. So I'll see you here guys, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, guys. So went ahead and put that back in the smoker. Like I said, for about an hour and a half. It actually is probably closer to 2 hours. The butcher paper is going to take a little longer to get up to that 195 than aluminum foil. You know, obviously metal paper, but I really like the finish that this paper puts on it. Now, I've already done the first one, but I brought that out of the smoker and I literally let it just sit in the paper for 20 minutes, let it rest right in the paper. You see there all those juices that are coming out. That's why I like the paper. It kind of soaks some of that up. So we're just going to bring out right there. Nice roast. And what I'm going to do is just cut this into 1-inch cubes. And I know this is the part in some of those videos on Facebook where it would just automatically, like, magically turn into cubes, but I'm not a big fan of those. So I'm just showing you, get a big enough knife and you can knock this out pretty quick. So there you go. Nice, beefy, meaty. So this is all just gonna go over into the pan. All right. Then set this over here out of the way, because then what we're going to do, we're just going to come in. I'm just going to use some Sweet Baby Ray's, probably about, they say a cup. I do about until it feels like I can pretty much cover that, and then just 2 or 3 big tablespoons of brown sugar. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to toss. And cover all that up. And I will finish this up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to toss this all up till that's good and covered. And then I'm going to go stick it back in the smoker for another hour. So I'll get this finished up, get it back in the smoker, and we'll see you in a bit. All right, everybody, so here we are. These are my version of burnt ends, like poor man's burnt ends, if you will. So it's a chuck roast. It has been smoked for, gosh, what I put on 11, and it's 7 now. So it's about an 8-hour process the way I do it. And gonna season it up, smoke it for about 4 to 5 hours. Going to wrap it. Foil will probably go about an hour. The butcher paper is going to go an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what your preference is. Then you're going to put some barbecue sauce and some brown sugar on it. You're going to smoke it open for another hour. And then what I did was, after that hour, I went out and I just did another quick, just small dab of barbecue sauce and brown sugar, mixed it up, and went about another 15-20 minute smoke, pulled it off, and this is what you're seeing right now. So this is my version of burnt ends, and I will give all of the ingredients and kind of a rundown in the description when this gets posted. But if you like what you see, I'll do some more next time, and we'll see you next time.